How does one submit an offer on a co-op apartment in New York City? We will demystify this topic in the following video. I'm Nick at HouseIt, and we are the largest buyer agent commission rebate company and for sale by owner company here in the city of New York, established in 2014. Visit our website, housit.com, to learn about ways to save up to 2% as a buyer in the city and ways to save up to 6% if you happen to be selling an apartment as part of your purchase as well. Submitting an offer on a co-op apartment in New York City is fairly straightforward. The offer itself is submitted via email, usually by your buyer's agent, and it consists of the following items: your deal terms, namely your purchase price, any contingencies, the percentage down, your anticipated closing date, as well as your REBNY financial statement, which tells the listing agent and the seller a bit about your finances, your income, your assets, and your liabilities. You'll need a pre-approval letter if you're financing. You'll need attorney contact information, highly recommended but not required. You'll also need to include proof of funds. If you're buying a property all cash, you'll probably want to show enough money to cover the whole purchase. If you're financing, you may just want to show 10% of the offer price in liquid assets. The purpose of the proof of funds and the attorney contact information is to convey a large degree of seriousness and credibility when it comes to your offer in the eyes of the seller. More specifically, your offer being compared to another offer that might not have proof of funds or attorney contact information will give the listing agent reason to think that you are much more prepared, ready to mobilize expeditiously towards a signed contract. Your buyer's agent can walk you through all of this documentation, but if you do need a copy of, say, a REBNY financial statement, we do have those on the HouseIt website. You can download PDF and Excel templates, whatever you prefer. We generally suggest that you actually start preparing these various offer documents at the very beginning of your search. And the reason being is that even in a turbulent market, properties that are highly desirable and priced to sell tend to sell quickly. So you'll want to be one of the first movers. There's always an advantage to being somebody who's more prepared than other buyers in the room. The offer submission process for a condo and a co-op are substantially similar. The only main difference is usually with a condominium, you don't necessarily need to include the REBNY financial statement. Many listing agents for condominiums simply ask you to fill out a submit offer form, which memorializes the deal terms of your offer and also has an abbreviated financial statement contained therein. So you usually only need that REBNY financial statement with a co-op, but if your search does encompass condos as well, there's no harm in including a REBNY financial statement along with your offer. Arguably, it would make you appear even more so as a credible, legitimate buyer, and that could in theory result in the seller being more favorable as it relates to the way they approach you, and perhaps they'll just simply allow you to pay less money than the other person who doesn't feel as prepared in terms of the offer docs and all of the things we've touched upon in this video. From the time you've submitted your offer, it usually takes a day or so to hear back from the seller with an update. In some cases, it can take many days. If it's a holiday or if the seller's traveling, it could be a week or more. And the typical negotiation usually takes anywhere from a few days to a week. Now, if you're submitting an offer on a very desirable property and there's a bidding war, usually in that case, the listing agent will call for a best and final offer submission process, during which all of the bidders will be invited to submit their best and final offer terms. And it's a lot more of a straightforward process in the sense that you submit it and that's pretty much it, and then you wait to hear back. A normal negotiation bilaterally between the buyer and the seller is very nuanced, and it can vary dramatically based on the personalities involved, not only the seller and the buyer's nature, but also the personality of the listing agent, for example. Final note, if you're buying a co-op, it's important to remember that buildings have varied financial requirements for applicants, but as a general rule of thumb, your debt-to-income ratio for a co-op in the city will need to be anywhere between 25% and low 30s, and you'll also need roughly 1 to 2 years of post-closing liquidity. If you're receiving a gift for your purchase, or if you have a unique purchasing structure, such as a guarantor, co-purchasing, or parents buying for children, please do also remember to have your buyer's agent reconfirm that your proposed purchasing structure is permitted for the building you're submitting an offer on. Last but not least, do remember that the majority of buyers in the city are represented by buyer's agents. The reason for this is because the commission structures in New York City are generally fixed, and what that means is if a buyer goes without a buyer agent, the listing agent usually collects all of that commission and the seller doesn't save any extra money by way of the buyer not being represented. Therefore, having a buyer's agent is essentially a free service that's built into the purchase price. Your typical buyer agent will give you a box of chocolates or a bottle of wine as a token of gratitude, but we suggest you go a bit further. Your typical buyer's agent is going to earn 2 to 3% on the purchase, so why not receive some of that back? In fact, you can, through a buyer agent commission rebate, also known as a Houseit buyer closing credit, save up to 2% on your purchase of a co-op in the city. Co-op buyer closing costs are actually around 2%, so through the buyer agent commission rebate concept, you can actually significantly reduce, if not completely eliminate, your buyer closing costs. We hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Nick at Houseit. Visit our website, houseit.com, to learn about ways to save, as discussed. If you're looking to just come up with an estimate as to your buyer closing costs, we got you covered as well. We have a very nice closing cost calculator for buyers, interactive, free to use. It will show you all of your closing costs. You can print it out, email it to your friends, and also download a PDF. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.